As the long, dark winter months settle in, there's something comforting about creating a cozy, warm space where we can feel grounded, calm, at ease, and just really relaxed. Whether it's the cold snow falling outside or the rainy days that seem to linger, embracing the idea of coziness becomes essential for our well being, especially in the classroom. For teachers, finding those moments of calm amidst the chaos can be a game changer for the mind and body, helping us to unwind after long, busy days. Creating a Hygge space in your classroom can be transformative, not only for your students, but also for you. It's a great way to calm the mind, ease the body, and create a peaceful environment where both learning and relaxation can flourish. So, grab your coziest blanket, dim the lights, and get ready to enjoy this episode as we take you through how to bring Hygge into your teaching spaces. We'll even try to match the mood with some soothing voices to keep the atmosphere as warm and inviting as possible. Hi, welcome to the EdYouWell podcast, a show created for, by, and with teachers. I'm Alex.
And I'm Chelsea. With over 30 years of combined teaching experience, our goal is to share insights and connect with fellow educators on how to thrive both personally and professionally.
Join us as we dive deep into the well of information, filled with meaningful discussions, practical tips, and ideas that go way beyond the classroom walls. Let's be well
and do well together. So like we said, we're going to try to keep our voices soothing and calm. Also a great thing to do in the classroom if you can, not always possible. But let's start talking about where this concept of Hygge, which I've been pronouncing incorrectly for a little while now, where does this concept come from? Hygge is the magical feeling of comfort and warmth that's perfect for the colder seasons. Its roots stem from the Danish and Norwegian cultures, meaning to comfort, or as we know in English, to hug. And in Norway, a similar concept known as kuslig, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, captures the same sense of coziness and well-being. Overall, I'm probably just going to say cozy or Hygge.
Probably a great choice because I think we've had a lot of conversations around appropriate, proper pronunciation. And of course, through our research, we found out that a whole bunch of different kind of northern areas have a version of Hygge, which I did mispronounce for years and call it Hygge.
Yeah.
So there's like this way of being and a word attached to it in other countries. For instance, I learned that Sweden has what is called lagom. And I always called the Norwegian one koslig. And I believe it could be perhaps pronounced koshili in Norwegian.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're going to call it kuslig, and we're going to get comments, hopefully, from people correcting us. And that's fine.
Yes.
And then there's the Icelandic theta redust.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly by any means. And they all kind of have varying definitions. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but they all have that, you know, being in the moment, enjoying what you have, enjoying simple things. And then some of the, like the Icelandic one and the Finnish one, sisu, they kind of move more into resilience and, you know, getting through it. So we can talk about those maybe on another episode. But the kusleg and the Hygge and a little bit of the Icelandic, optimistic in the face of challenges, they're kind of similar. So how do we incorporate these ways of being into the classroom? And we have very long months of winter, and it becomes very challenging to kind of get through that time. There's lack of daylight, which makes it challenging, very cold weather, which makes it challenging. And the cold weather creates isolation from time to time, and that, you know, impacts how we're feeling. And you kind of go a little stir crazy. So it's nice to have the counter to that, something that remedies the environmental impact on our well-being of winter. And there's beautiful things about winter too that we could talk about.
Of course, this is how we make winter even more beautiful, you know, with our own spaces. I love sitting inside. The snow is falling. It's peaceful, but you're sitting in this amazing, cozy atmosphere. However, I will say that I have some work to do in this area. This is something that I really want for myself and for my family and for my students. So, for these spaces where I spend lots of time, I want them to be cozier. But honestly, I don't really have a knack for decor or putting lights around my home. And I know so many people who have this just down. I walk into their spaces. I just did this at school. Walked into someone's space, and this person has it covered. There's soft lighting, the decor is texturized, there's layering, and my mood was lifted, but I also felt very calm. It was a wonderful feeling. And I think that that is just an amazing space, especially for students to go into. So how wonderful. And I just like to have that person come into my classroom and to take care of it. So I need some help in this area. So I'm really glad that we're talking about this now so that I can decide what to put into my classroom and also into my home.
I don't doubt for one second if you asked this person, leaned on them for support on an expertise area that they have, that they would help you out. And isn't it funny how Chelsea and I have both taught out of the same classroom. And while we've both made efforts to Hyggify the spaces, classrooms can have a real feel of now, what is the word I'm looking for though, Chelsea? Not industrial, institutional. That's the word I'm looking for. So the space that you're referring to that you walked into the other day does not feel institutional at all whatsoever. And I think if you were to start applying the Hygge way into the classroom spaces, it would remove that feeling. And I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it, like you said, it also depends on, what is your budget? What do you want to bring into your classroom? So let's jump into the 5 main ideas that we have here that we could maybe bring into the classroom. And honestly, a lot of these you could bring into your home as well. It would probably be easier to bring it into your home than the classroom. One thing we could do is incorporate warm, soft lighting with lamps or string lights to create that cozy ambiance. I don't think I'm going to have several lamps around my classroom. It wouldn't work in my classroom. I would have to go with the string lights. There's not a great deal of space. So I think using the walls to create this ambiance is going to be better for my space. And of course, we can't light candles in our space. So maybe some little battery candles would be appropriate.
Ixnay on the lighting of candles, definitely a health and safety issue. And of course, there's going to be regulations and rules around a lot of this. So knowing what you are and are not allowed to do. But I mean, in this day and age, you pop into a dollar store, get some string lights, or there's just beautiful options that exist. If I think back 20 years ago, those options were not there. So there's a lot of ways that you can introduce the lighting into the classroom space.
Another idea here is if you do have the opportunity to use, let's say, mini LED lights, or even just the battery candles in a jar, and you have your students sitting in groups, you could use that just certain times of the week, maybe for this quiet, calming time where they can do an activity. It's a way to help them practice mindfulness in this cozy atmosphere.
I know for me, there's been moments that it's snowing heavily outside and you've got kind of a warm, cozy light in the space and you look out and there's nowhere you would rather be in that moment than in that classroom. And that's the kind of applying the idea of, like you said, mindfulness, but just 100% being in the moment, being grateful for where you are. And nobody wants to be outside when it's freezing and snowing. So it's kind of a bonding thing. It's quite lovely. Another thing that's really useful and helpful is incorporating comfortable seating into spaces. It's nice to have some form of something that has some cushion or beanbag or softer chairs. You had said a little bit earlier about softer textures. So perhaps bringing in some texture into the classroom and having it hanging on the wall, of course, respecting fire safety rules, making sure that the seating that you do include is classroom friendly. And every classroom is different. We are working with different age groups and different types of spaces. So something like microfiber maybe would be really easy to clean off. Softer spaces for the floor, such as, I've used yoga mats in the past, or something with a little bit of puff, but still wipeable, creates spaces within the room and different levels within the room that can create areas whereby students can kind of group up, and it facilitates conversation and group work in a different way. Now, we just have to acknowledge right now that we are very aware that there are limitations that exist. And so it's about being creative with what you already have. And also, like we said, there's no perfect classroom, just like there's no perfect classroom in another episode. There's no perfect way of accomplishing this. Some of it is a little aspirational, but if you can incorporate one or two small things, it makes a difference for the students in the room.
Yeah, just these small changes of where they're sitting is helpful. So again, I would emphasize the school mats. If we have mats that we're using maybe in the gym, if we're able to take some of those mats to our classroom, you line them up around the walls, and it's just like it's like a little sofa on the floor, but you can wipe it off and you can return it to where you got it from. And I find that the students really enjoy that. They really appreciate having the opportunity to just get out of their desk and sit somewhere a little more comfortable.
They do enjoy the opportunity to get out of their desks and sit somewhere more comfortable. And I would suggest taking advantage of windows. Depending on what side your classroom is facing, take advantage of the light that streams into your room and those sunspots in the middle of winter where you can just feel the warmth of the sun. It adds to a level of hygge or kuzlig and coziness that is just beautiful bang for the buck.
You can use these natural elements to help. You don't actually have to bring in plush blankets, because I'm not bringing plush blankets into my classroom. I'm just telling you that right now. But that's going to be a home thing for me. The mats are great. The sun coming in is great. Maybe the warm lighting so far. Okay, so let's get into more of those natural elements, like plants, bringing plants into the classroom, even flowers or natural materials like wood or stone. Now, here's an area that I think we can work with.
Absolutely.
And if you do bring plants into the classroom, it's another opportunity for the students to really get involved and to make it, just a community experience.
Bringing in those natural elements, that pop of life in the middle of winter, to see plants in the space and to be reminded that there is still life, and to give students, like you kind of mentioned, an opportunity to be a part of the space, to care for the space. I had students name the plants in my room in the past, and it was like this ongoing conversation, and the students gave the plants more attention than I did. They would really notice and care for the plants. And also, I'm going to throw this out there, plants, especially certain plants, tend to they create oxygen and they filter out the air in some way. Now, I need to do some research on this, but that's what I've been told many a times. So I like to get away from all the fake plastics.
Yes, natural elements can have calming effects on people. Even environments with plants or nature imagery have been shown to accelerate healing. And this I did read about it. It was a study done where patients with a view of trees recovered more effectively than those without. So why wouldn't we want to incorporate nature into our classroom? And you know what? Like we said, there are limitations. But let's bring it back to that screen that we have. Sometimes we have to use that screen to somehow bring nature into our classroom. And we've talked about before having just an image of, let's say, a waterfall on your screen, maybe some soothing music. Again, I really love the YouTube cafes. I have to bring this up right now. They have music, they have natural elements, and they have these cozy little coffee shops. And we also use it as a little game to identify fire hazards in these videos, because they often have candles like burning on the floor or burning in places where there's a shelf above it. So I always say, okay, everybody, let's pick out the fire hazard here, even though they're so wonderful and cozy. you got to have those candles enclosed. So you can put a little personal safety lesson in there too.
Chelsea, your students are just always learning, aren't they?
Oh yeah, totally.
That is
There's
wonderful.
a purpose for everything.
Thank God for YouTube and all the beautiful scenery we get to bring into our classrooms. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Best thing ever that I started doing. Oh, and I have many a times around Christmas time looked up the fireplace essentially and had the fireplace roaring in my classroom with soft music in the background. And it changes the energy of the room like you wouldn't believe.
I do it with my own kids at home, and it also changes the energy at home. So it's a great idea.
Bunch of small little changes that lead to big results.
It's also nice to have on when you have company over, instead of having a TV blasting or something, you just want some soft music and some scenery. Do it when you have company over. It makes for a really cozy atmosphere in those dark winter months.
Ambiance. Love it.
Yep.
Another thing that adds to that ambiance are nice little personal touches, whereby you can infuse the spaces with some personal touches. And when I say personal touches, I mean personal to your classroom community, not specifically to you. So taking photos, if you're allowed to, throughout the year of things that you and your students are doing and highlighting those in the spaces. You could even frame some of those photos and really give them honor and respect and show them off with student permission, of course. Student produced artwork, items that are sentimental from your class, from experiences that you've had throughout the year. Things that evoke those really amazing feelings of comfort and nostalgia within your classroom community. It really builds relationship and community when you take these items, give them space. It's a constant reminder of the time you did A, B, C, D. And making sure that students have opportunities to contribute to the space themselves with ideas and what they can bring in to add that has meaning to them too. Make sure that there's student voice involved in this kind of developing of the space and improving of the space. The spaces might shift from year to year depending on who's in it, really, what type of artwork they're producing or vibe the students have.
Yeah, and to go along with the students being a part of creating this environment, that would bring us to our fifth idea, which is sensory experiences. For instance, you have a day where they're allowed to bring in maybe some comforting snacks. Maybe you have a hot chocolate day, maybe herbal tea, something warm and cozy. And you might have that once a month. You might have that once a week. It's all dependent on when you're comfortable doing that. And I am definitely going to try that this year because I haven't tried it, but I feel like a hot chocolate day would be pretty easy and pretty fun. So that's on my list.
Imagine being a student coming to school on one of those cool days where it's indoor recess and everyone's getting a little bit squirrely, and you kind of apply all of the 4 things that we just mentioned in creating kind of a Hygge space, and then you make a big batch of apple cider or apple tea or hot chocolate and have it ready to go. You've kind of planned it out. You have someone to help you out, and everyone gets to enjoy that. Imagine enjoying that experience. Or even better, they went outside. That's better for your mental health too. They went outside for their recess and they're freezing cold and they come in. That's better. And they wrap their hands around these beautiful cups of tea. And of course, following all of the health and safety guidelines. And you know your space and what will work and what will not. But I did that many, many, many times. And I will tell you, the students always remember it, appreciate it, and come to ask for it again. And then, of course, Chelsea, if you do something like this and create that sensory experience, there's the warmth of the hands, there's the smell that kind of creeps up and that feeling of community and communalness where you're all sharing, not from the same cup, but the same drink. No. And you got to have the YouTube cafe on in the background. Once again, we bring this up. We are not advertising for YouTube. No, we're not. But
no, we're not.
Just do it. It makes such a difference.
Yes. And of course, keep it simple. What's good for you is good for the students. So creating these cozy atmospheres can reduce stress, can create that calming mood. And we know that we all need that when we are approaching holidays coming up, kind of chaos going on. Yeah. Report cards are around. The sun is going down earlier. So that's how people do get through the winter sometimes, right? Create that atmosphere that's going to help boost your mood and your mental health.
Absolutely. And, if you can't see yourself making this work in your classroom, that's fine. Do it for yourself at home.
Do it at home.
And yeah, and practice doing it at home. And then maybe one day you'll decide to incorporate something in. Do you know what I like about this conversation is that we're bringing in different cultures. So these are Northern cultures that we're talking about here. I have learned so much from so many different parts of the world. I connect to this one because I experience winter, and I know you do too. But I would love to, moving forward, continue to bring in teachings from other cultural areas and figure out how we can apply it. One that I thought of, again, from Norway when we were just talking, or a quote that I've heard is a Norwegian quote, and it's, there is no bad weather, there's just bad clothing. And that's kind of because the Norwegians, they really tend to embrace winter, and there's so many activities to do to make winter something that you look forward to. And I remember a while back learning about that and realizing, that is a lot of months of my life where I don't go outside and need to embrace it and kind of reframe how I feel about winter. And I really did start getting out there and enjoying the gifts that winter provides. And we have a lot of colleagues that embrace winter and have been a good influence on us. Do I need to bring up right now the ski debacle where you were so athletic and skied like a beast and I wiped out completely? No, I won't bring that up right now.
I really wasn't. No, I was trying really hard and couldn't move for the rest of the day. So you know what? That was a good thing that we did because you got to experience the beauty of it, right? You're just flying down a path. It's peaceful. It's calm. It was hard though. It was a bit too hard for us at that time. We'll go with the cross country next time.
Winter, speaking of the idea of resilience and endurance, I always think about how resilient people must have been in the past to survive winter and to thrive and to move forward into the next generation, because we have the advantage where, we're in these warm, cozy spaces and we're not, some of us might be, but a lot of us are not having to cut down the wood to keep warm. We are very well suited to use winter as an opportunity to enjoy. So lucky us.
That's a great positive spin on things. And I am actually very inspired right now to create those cozy environments. It is time for me to try a little bit harder in that area. So I'm going to get my blankets and create that cozy atmosphere. And right now, I think we need to wrap this episode up in a cozy blanket by doing the takeaways.
Oh, I love takeaways. 1, try using soft lighting, comfortable seating, and natural elements to create a cozy classroom that enhances student engagement and helps you feel more relaxed and focused.
2, try embracing a Hygge atmosphere to reduce stress, boost student engagement, and maintain your own sense of calm and energy throughout the day, because we need that.
3, try adding personal items and sensory elements like soft music to create a warm, inviting space that supports both our students' comfort and your own well-being. Thanks for being here, teachers. We hope these ideas inspire you to bring some Hygge into your home and your classroom. We also hope that you find moments within your day, your week, your month, and your year where you are sitting listening to whatever podcast you enjoy, and that you're enjoying a hot cup of something, cuddled up, feeling the cozy, and looking out at the barren cold outside, knowing how lucky you are that you have these moments of warmth to look forward to. Now, if you're enjoying this podcast, we'd love for you to leave a review wherever you are listening. We would also love to hear from you. What types of Hygge are you using both at home or at school? How would you let us know? Visit our website at EdYouWell.com. That's EdYouWell.com. Click on the pink microphone and leave us a voice message. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time, be well
and do well.